manager of a restaurant had called its owner to ask about whether or not she should hire a new waitress. She can speak 12 different languages, which will be good for foreign visitors, said the manager. Alright, so hire her, the owner replied. But, sir, I knew there would be a but. What's wrong with her? Sir, English isn't one of the 12 languages. Wife begins to get a little worried because her husband has not arrived home on time from his regular Saturday afternoon golf game. As the hours pass, she becomes more and more concerned until at 8 p.m., the husband finally pulls into the driveway. What happened? Says the wife. You should have been home hours ago. Harry had a heart attack at the third hole, replied the husband. Oh, that's terrible, says the wife. I know, the husband answers. All day long it was hit the ball, drag Harry, hit the ball, drag Harry. A very modest lady applied for a job at the factory where they made Tickle Me Elmo dolls. It was Friday and almost quitting time, and hurriedly the boss told her to report for work on Monday. He quickly explained to her that she would be stationed on the assembly line just before the dolls were packed into boxes. On Monday, they started up the line and within 20 minutes had to shut it down because one worker couldn't keep up. The boss went down the line to find the problem. The next employee was very busy trying to do her part, but she had a bunch of dolls waiting for her. Closer examination showed that she was sewing little cloth bags containing 2 walnuts in the appropriate place on the dolls. The boss could not control his laughter and said, "Lady, I said to give each doll 2 testicles." Blonde was complaining to her friend about constantly being called a dumb blonde. Her friend tells her, go do something to prove them wrong. Why don't you learn all the state capitals? Or something. The blonde thinks this is a great idea and locks herself up for 2 weeks studying. The next party she goes to some guy who is making dumb blonde comments to her. She gets all indignant and claims, I'm not a dumb blonde. In fact, I can name all the state capitals. The guy doesn't believe her, so she dares him to test her. He says, okay, what's the capital of Montana? The blonde tosses her hair in triumph and says, that's easy, it's M. Goes into a greasy spoon-type cafe and he says, I would like one of your special full English breakfasts. No problem, comes the greasy little fat girl's reply from behind the counter. But I want it my way, says the man. What do you mean, your way, comes the reply. The man says, well, I want the eggs only just about done so they look like I have snotted on them. He says, I want the baked beans done so they are baking hot on the top and freezing cold on the bottom. I want the bacon stuck on the plate with grease, with more rin than actual bacon. I want fried bread so greasy that the grease trickles in the snotty egg and beans. I don't have the time to do all that, came the reply from the greasy little fat girl. Well, you had time yesterday, came the reply. Man enters a barber shop for a shave. While the barber is foaming him up, he mentions the problem he has getting a close shave around the cheeks. I have just the thing, says the barber, taking a small wooden ball from a nearby drawer. Just place this between your cheek and gum. The client places the ball in his mouth and the barber proceeds with the closest shave the man has ever experienced. After a few strokes, the client asks in garbled speech,
And what if I swallow it?
No problem, says the barber. Just bring it back tomorrow like everyone else does. Two brothers, ages 6 and 8, decide they are old enough to start cursing. So they plan to use dirty words the next morning at breakfast. The 8-year-old says he'll use the word hell and tells the 6-year-old to use s. Well, the next morning they head downstairs for breakfast. And when their mother asks them what they want, the 8-year-old says, "Ah, hell, I'll have some Fruit Loops." Shocked, the mother wheels around and backhands him on the chair, sending him screaming back upstairs. She then turns to the 6-year-old and says, "What are you going to have?" He replies, "I don't know, but you can bet your ass it ain't going to be Fruit Loops." Company commander and the first sergeant were in the field. As they hid the sack for the night, the first sergeant said, "Sir, look up into the sky and tell me what you see." The CO said, "I see millions of stars." The first sergeant says, "And what does that tell you, sir?" The company commander says, "Astronomically, it tells me that there are millions of galaxies and potentially billions of planets. Theologically, it tells me that God is great and that we are small and insufficient. Meteorologically, it tells me that we will have a beautiful day tomorrow. What does it tell you, Top?" The first sergeant says, "Well, sir, it tells me that somebody stole our tent." The Irishman went to the courthouse to change his name legally changed. When he replied, the desk clerk asked, "Can I help you, sir?" Our man said, "Yes, I would like to change my name." "What is your current name?" asked the clerk. The man said, "Martin Arsehole." The clerk laughed and said, "I can see why you want to change. What would you like your new name to be?" The man said, "Tim Arsehole." Man was driving along a freeway when he noticed a chicken running alongside his car. He was amazed to see the chicken keeping up with him because he was doing 50 miles per hour. He accelerated to 60 and the chicken stayed right next to him. He speeded up to 75 miles per hour and the chicken passed him up. The man noticed the chicken had 3 legs, so he followed the chicken down the road and ended up in a farm. He got out of his car and saw that all the chickens had 3 legs. He asked the farmer, "What's up with these chickens?" The farmer said, "Well, everybody likes chicken legs. I bred a 3-legged bird. I'm going to be a millionaire." The man asked him how they tasted. The farmer said, "Don't know. Haven't caught one yet." Robinson came home in great excitement and said to his wife, "You will never believe it, dear, but I've discovered an entirely new position for lovemaking." "Really?" said Mrs. Robinson, interested at once. "What is it?" "Back to back." "But that's crazy. We can't do anything back to back." "Yes, we can. I've persuaded another couple to help out."